Joe Kim, the brand, in the house, man. Thank you for coming.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's a little rainy today, but those little drops of sunshine.
It's okay.
That's what I say.
Yeah, just gotta have the shampoo ready.
Sunshine,
That's
right.
all.
Little drops of sunshine, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, besides the hail, what do you call the hail?
I don't think, was there really hail, though?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see any.
Well, and I don't know if it's here yet, but it's definitely around where my mom works.
Where does she work?
I think she's in, Woodstock or something today?
That's the thing about hell. It could go for a minute and then never come here. And weather in general, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the weather podcast, by the way.
Brought to you by.
Right, that would be just a guessing
right?
game.
IBM owns the Weather Channel now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've owned them for a while, but I don't know. I guess IBM started buying up things that didn't need to work to make money, right? Because the Weather Channel doesn't really work. Like, it's not like, hey, it's gonna rain today, and if they're wrong, they still have a job.
True.
They could be wrong many times in a row too.
Oh yeah.
Lots of times.
Yeah, and I think it's probably Watson that runs the weather, anyways. I think Watson probably manipulates the weather too. So because there was a tornado that hit yesterday too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just
I
random
saw some
things.
videos on Fulton Road, and it looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was power lines and trees down.
Don't touch down power lines, kids. Yeah. So, Joe, tell me about yourself. Where are you from, man?
So I'm from a town called Augusta, Georgia. It's about 2 hours east of here. But after high school, I actually bolted to Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
So all my Brooklyn folks, Brooklyn in the house. So over in Park Slope.
Jay-Z, what's up?
That's right. Over the Marcy Projects. I lived in a nicer part. It was a affluent Jewish community in Brooklyn. Lasted a couple years and moved over to, gosh, I don't want to get the timeline mixed up. It was L.A., then La Jolla, California. Became a beach bum there for a little bit.
That's fun.
Yeah, and then came back to Atlanta and went back out to California. Was living in Charleston until a crazy freak accident happened, and I just got back here a couple months ago.
Now, when you were up in Brooklyn, were you doing the same type of profession as you're doing now, or did you bounce around professions?
Oh my gosh. It could be anything from cleaning people's windows or taking a blind person's groceries to cooking at bar mitzvahs and just different things. It was
smorgasbord, huh?
Oh, it was just a lot of fun. A lot of experiences.
That's cool. Tell me about the brand.
The brand. So all of us are building somewhat of a personal brand.
Sure.
I think we have these gifts and talents and abilities that we might be capped. We haven't had a chance to kind of fulfill that. And so as you're building your personal brand, it communicates to other people, who are you? And so that's why I wanted to name my handle JK the Brand, because I wanted to let people know who I am.
Okay.
So
what do you do?
So what do I do? Mm-hmm. So I'm a content creator, a serial entrepreneur, just a guy who, I wouldn't label it as a coach, but somebody who can get something out of somebody.
Okay.
Like if it's the best of their abilities, or if it's to remove a traumatic past. It's just, I don't know if you want to call it a magician. You can maybe call it a psychological magician, but a serial entrepreneur, all about solving those problems.
Yeah, we talked about when you said like content creator and you make the best out of someone, kind of like what we were discussing at our networking event, that somebody that has potential that you see online and you're like, okay, I know that I can do something with you, and I know that I can make you way more successful than you think that you are, or that you think that you can be.
Absolutely, because I think we put limits and caps on ourselves, because I don't know if it's the vanity of social media. I mean, God bless social media for being in existence.
Is there a lot of vanity in social media?
There still is. There still is. The mirror is still there.
Yes.
It's so much of it out there. It's just insane. That's why mental health has become a huge topic of discussion, because the vanities.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. We actually talked to somebody on the podcast a few weeks ago that was talking about your post on social media and everything you do is wanting that affirmation that you're good, and really in a lot of cases there's people that are haters and they're just going to give you the bad shit that they see.
Yeah.
And it's just really bogs down on people.
Yeah, social media can be really hit or miss. I feel like, so I told you about my TikTok popping off, and I got like 3.2 million views on one of my videos on TikTok. And then I was like, oh, this is so cool. And everybody was like commenting,
Yeah,
like
she was
relating.
changing like her drapes or curtains and got 3.2 million views.
Yeah, sure. No, it was about my cat. It's the
See,
stupidest,
even worse.
thing.
Even worse.
Even worse. Even worse. But then people
I can't
started
believe
to
you have
comment.
a cat. You do look like a cat woman.
Oh, I have a pit bull, sir. I'm a pit bull
you have a cat?
person. Well, the whole point of my TikTok was that my cat ran away. So,
So you don't have a cat anymore.
so yeah, no,
What if your pit
not a
bull
cat
ate him?
person anymore. Oh my gosh, Tito was scared of the
Tito
cat.
would not do that.
Tito was scared of the cat.
never
But
know.
then people were, once it got so many views, people were going back to my other TikToks where you could actually see my face, because in the entire video that was popular, you couldn't see me at all.
Yeah.
They were going back to my other videos and they're like, you're not as pretty as you think that you are. Like, humble yourself. Like, you're not that attractive. And like came after me. I was like, okay, maybe I need to take a break from this app for a minute, because it's like, wow, you guys are making me
There's
depressed
no way-
for
there-
no reason.
Number one, I wouldn't read them because I just don't. I think that would be boring to read comments of people I'd never meet. Number two, I definitely wouldn't read them because I'm lazy, and wouldn't want lazy in that fact. But I guess it's a natural good for me not to do it, because if I read all the comments on probably everything that we're gonna do in the future, it's like, look at that fat dude. You're not as good looking as you seem. I was like, I don't think I'm good looking at all.
I never said that I was.
Look, that's when you just take your shirt off and just shake it all about. But,
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
But actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of the movie Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. If you remember towards the end, it's like, are you poo-poo face 6677? It's like, yeah. What?
Yeah, that's
And so
right.
yeah, I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to create stuff in the beginning to just anger somebody and say, all right, let's IP address track this person, and let's go ahead and like stalk this person and like knock
Let's hunt them down.
Oh yeah, I was all about that.
Yeah, but that social media, with that, me getting so many negative comments, I was like, okay, so this is why people that are extremely successful, like the big TikTokers like Addison Rae and Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio, like their mental health is probably rocked when they get super successful. So it's really important to talk about it.
Or you learn how to just like divert that.
Yeah,
not
like
care
try
about
your
it.
best to block it out, but there's only so much blocking out when you've got 100 million followers.
You get
How much
other
blocking
people.
out can
Get
you
other
do?
people to read your stuff that you only comment on the good stuff.
Only read you the affirmation.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You read my stuff, and I don't want to hear anything negative.
Only positives, no criticism here.
That's it. But it's funny because I think either I was watching an interview or I read a snippet, but like Gordon Ramsay, the chef, will say, like comment cards, like I only want to hear the negative because you can't get better on the positives, right? You can't make your restaurant better or your food better on people's like, this is the greatest thing ever. Well, that's done then. It's like, hey, I think you could do this and this, and if, but you gotta know who that's coming from too, to be able to accept that advice and accept that that hey, I might need to look at it, but poo poo face, 18888 is not the the end all be all on TikTok videos.
Yeah, I know the person that's like the people that were commenting on my videos telling me you're not attractive, blah, blah. I know that you're sitting at home on your couch, bored, probably not
You don't
attractive
know that they
at
might be in
all.
their mansion and beautiful.
Sitting there with your 15 million cats. Oh, sure, yeah.
their cats.
If they're sitting in their mansion and absolutely beautiful, they've probably got something else to do.
They have
That
one
they
of those
could
weird dogs
do
with no
instead
hair
of
that costs like $5,000.
Except at the tip of their tail or something.
Yeah.
Who are you?
A diamond collar.
Yeah.
A diamond collar. I got a diamond collar on my dog. What do you got?
More expensive than your rent for the next 10 years.
Right.
It's like, wow, excuse me, pay your rent first, then we'll have a conversation. But-
Exactly.
So how do you combat that with people?
So, one, I know that if they're not sitting with me and saying it to my face, it's like, say it in my face, then I honestly don't do the post to really, I'm not concerned about the comments.
Sure.
Because then again, you also have that the uplift of like, oh my God, fantastic job, emojis with the hand clapping and all that. I never got my validation based on comments. I never got my approval from other people. It's just knowing, okay, this is the best I'm going to put out there for that day, because this is, if you actually track me on Instagram, it's actually my journey. So I document almost every day what I've been up to, all the changes, all the struggles that I've gone through, but I don't care about the comments. But it's just encouraging to have that on there because what I care about are the DMs that come.
Sure.
Because it's the private conversations where you can actually really go in and actually help somebody. So
Sure.
I'm not concerned. 50 comments or 1,000.
Yeah, as long as you're.
But when you're teaching somebody, how do you say stay away from that? Stay away from the pitfalls.
From the commenting and
Yeah, well, from the coaching standpoint, you're talking to somebody and you can make it better, and they have a really good digital footprint. Hey, this is how to keep your mental without paying attention.
How to disregard the trolls.
well, it is tough. I think if for that person, they need to know who they are first. And this is on a philosophical side. I think if they just went on that journey really quickly, or however long it takes them to learn who they are first, what their gifts are, then I think anything that comes after that can be up for discussion. Because there's a book I'm reading that said that there is an ongoing, could be an epidemic going on with relationships that can affect your mental health. And it's the fact that there's not enough resilience that you're building amongst yourself. But again, that traces back to, do I know who I am first? Because you got to build that root system first. Because if you have weeds don't have a very deep root system, and it's just easy to pull them up. But let's go to the Grand Oaks forest in Germany, and let's knock a tree down and see how deep the roots are. It's never straight.
Sure.
The more crooked and crazy the roots are, and the thicker it is, that's you knowing about who you are as the person first.
Yeah.
Then when you go out to add value, yes, expect to be attacked, expect to be debated, expect to be a person that gets rocks thrown at them. That's part of the process.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. So the cat thing got you 3.2.
Yeah, I got like 30.
That's ridiculous.
I got like 33,000 followers in like a few days.
wow.
Yeah, and then my content dropped off. I posted a few more, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a break. And I literally got off TikTok for like a year. But now I'm back. I haven't made anything yet.
They did it. They did it to you. They made you quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, they maybe got defeated.
Not gonna lie, yeah, they kind of ruined it for me. But now I'm back, confidence regained.
Boom.
So it's kind of, is it daunting, cataloging your day like you do? I mean, is that a daunting thing?
It used to be, but I think if you take the time to pick a lesson that you learn from the day, it becomes easier. The only daunting task is actually like the first couple things I would say, like a hello or may the fourth be with you, or some goofy phrase that'll just kind of lightheart the conversation. Because a lot of my stuff that I post are pretty deep.
Yep.
And so I want to kind of make it a little bit easy for them to walk onto that platform so it's humanized, and then you can walk into my world.
Right.
Yeah, I've looked at your social media quite a bit after we connected last week, and your message is really powerful, especially like with everything that you've gone through recently. You putting stuff out there and allowing yourself to be vulnerable will make other people feel like, okay, if I need advice, I can definitely DM him. Like, I can relate to his story. I've been through something similar, and that's just so important for people to see.
Let's talk about that. What's happened to you recently?
So this happened back in February of this year. So the 16th of February, I got into a near-death experience, a horrific blackout accident. I was actually working in the medical field at the time, was helping with the vaccines, with the testing and all the data, things like that. And I was in Charleston, South Carolina. It was my third month in, and this was probably the 90th day of 12 hours.
This is 3 months ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, about a couple months ago, but I was in Charleston 3 months and didn't have a day off. It was 12-hour days straight for 90 days. And then I remembered saying something, and then I blacked out. I got in what they consider in the brainwave state, the theta state, which was the dreaming state. So I got on my one wheel, which for you guys is a one wheel hoverboard with the wheel in it.
It's cool.
It's really, really dope. So I got on, went about 20 miles an hour. I did not know anything that happened, but I wrecked and landed head first on my left side. Got road rash across the right part of my forehead and under my arm itself. So it was a traumatic brain injury, a mild concussion, and I don't know what the hell happened in the last 7 hours, because the only time I regained some kind of consciousness, I was standing in front of my mirror, pretty much out of the shower, but I was, I had my PJs
So you
on.
were walking. You were a zombie. You were a walking zombie.
No, which was weird because I had to go and backtrack everything. Normal conversations. I used Uber. I ordered food. I ate food. I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, like you did. You were you were not conscious, but you were conscious at the same time. Like you were having, it's like a drunk,
Yeah.
blackout drunk, where the people are walking and talking and doing anything, but they don't remember it.
Yeah.
Jiminy Christmas, that's crazy.
That's scary.
And where
Yeah.
were you? You were in Charleston on the cobblestone, whatever.
I was over in Mount Pleasant. It was
Okay.
actually at a big church parking lot because they had an outer site type of like an outdoor testing site that actually got blown away from a tornado. It just touched down in a small part of Mount Pleasant. So I was helping clean the rubbish and the wreckage and stuff. It was 3 10 by 10, 20 by 10, 10 by 10 tent, and a generator flew into the trees. So
And that
I
was
had
your job 3 months ago.
yeah.
And did you do that because it was your profession before? You're like, hey, this is a good way to make money, or both? I want to make money and it can help a lot right now.
I was actually okay on the financial front, but it was actually just to help people out.
Good. Okay.
Because I mean, we were at the point I got sick of it. I mean, with just staying at home, it took maybe 2 days, and I said I gotta go do something about it. And it didn't start with that. I also had traveled the country a little bit to set up just testing sites, just to see if people would actually come up and drive and do their COVID testing. And this actually was the sponsorship dinners that Donald Trump was hosting. And
Okay.
here's an unknown fact, and I could share this openly, but 80% of those attendees already were tested positive for COVID and still attend the event.
I believe that.
So it's a pretty wild stat because we actually, again, I started doing the data tracking after a couple events. I'm like, these guys aren't wearing masks or hugging each other, spitting pretty much like, oh my God, it's so exciting. I'm like, gosh, they're spitting at each other. They're spreading this stuff. And it's like, can we get a test? And you might recall a story of the governor of Ohio. He actually sent a tweet. I believe it was the summer of last year or the fall of one of those times. And he was supposed to go to a yacht club to actually host Donald Trump for this sponsorship dinner. He couldn't go because he tested positive, but he put it out on Twitter, which created a massive eruption of in the media. And so he couldn't go and he got pissed off about it. So, and that's kind of the whole journey that led up to this accident. But yeah, it's
So did you go to the hospital after you came to in front of your shower, in front of your mirror?
Actually,
after the shower?
I did-
You're like,
I did.
gotta go to the hospital now.
Actually, no,
'Cause I don't know where I went. Time traveling now.
I floated and levitated.
Yes.
I thought I floated and levitated, but no. Right after the accident, I was sent through an ambulance to East Cooper Medical Center. So I was sent to the hospital after the accident because the tent that I was cleaning up, we had a backup set of tents that I put up myself, and there were nurses in there. So a nurse's natural response is to make sure I wasn't bleeding. Because when my nose was bleeding, it doesn't bleed draining down. It actually kind of like fountains out, and like shoots up and down if I'm laying down. So I went through the hospital. Don't remember being administered a shot. Didn't remember agreeing to CT scans. I think I might have held.
But you got all that stuff.
I got it right now. Yeah, well, I've got it at home. So
No, I mean you got all the. You did get the CT that day and all that, and you didn't remember it.
right.
So you had to do like a hangover thing and trace back your day. Like, oh, I've got a, what the heck happened there? Let me check my phone.
I've got a
and you were
wristband
just
from here.
You were going all the way back of your day. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So did you do a follow up?
So, okay, this is where actually the mental health journey really started. I had multiple fractures on my skull, and the bridge of my nose was broken, and so those body parts healed within a week, which was a miracle in itself. And I could just attribute it to a bunch of different things. But the mental health journey was actually seeing neurologist after neurologist after neurotherapist after neurotherapist after neurologist and neurotherapist. It was about 7 of these professionals. And the frustration came because I was only given drugs. And here's the receipt or like a piece of paper. This is what you need to do to suppress your future headaches. So it led up to just about last Friday seeing a brain train specialist and also a kinesiologist to finally address what caused the accident. And it wasn't based on just working 12-hour days. It was actually much deeper than that. So it was a pretty kooky journey, but I'm not saying I hate on the medical system. It's just the way that they provide solution is just, let's just put a Band-Aid on a cancer.
Well, look, I mean, a lot of that is it's a money driven pharmaceutical
Industry.
complex, you know what I mean? So it's they call it the military complex or whatever. This is a medical complex, and drug companies rule the United States just like insurance
100%.
just like insurance companies do.
Yeah.
You know that in the UK I think it's illegal. I'm pretty sure it's illegal. like we can't have cigarette smoking ads on our TVs. You ain't seen them since early 80s, right?
Right.
But they don't have pharmaceutical commercials on their TVs because people are self-diagnosing themselves by, two actors walking down the road with a puppy dog and going, and then at the end, here's where people should stop and go, okay, well, there's something weird about this. At the end, if a guy talks really fast and says, if you've ever had all this stuff, then see your doctor, I don't think you should take that at all. Like, fast talking guy in a commercial means no to me.
Well, he had a nice paycheck for doing that.
Right.
Well, that's his business.
Yeah.
That's his business. I love it, but hey, that's not all he's doing either. He's doing the gargle, voiceover on commercials too, or cartoons too. That's not where he gets his money, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But you don't need drugs to do everything.
Right, unless you want to just hide everything. But I think with mental health, you got to open that door, and you have to pretty much, so to speak, let it all out. You have to get that addressed, because if you don't, it's any CTE cases that you hear about, the suicides or the crazy things that happen as a result, were years and decades of buildup, and you want to make sure you can address that. And that's why in my journey, it's let's address it now and let's document this, because I want other people to learn from this or get some kind of sense of hope. Let's just address this stuff right now, or
Sure.
else.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, I'm very, very, very well aware of how impactful suicide can be to the people around you. And looking at it, my dad, he dealt with so much PTSD, depression, alcoholism from when he served in Afghanistan after 9/11, and that he just never dealt with it, covered it up with drinking and stuff like that. And I was like, if we would have just gotten the help that you needed and really opened that up and went back inside and just dug deep, then he could have done what you're doing and just building yourself. And it takes exposing yourself deeply in order to actually fix yourself in the long run.
So how long was your dad in Afghanistan, if you don't mind me asking?
I think he was only there a year.
Only there, years a long time.
It is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me some traumatic stories, so I can't really imagine going through that. And so I never pretended to relate. But at the end of the day, we should have sought more help for him. But I mean, we couldn't have done it without him, and he didn't ever try. So
That's true. But there's ways. There's implementing education before the PTS happens and all that PTSD, right? Happens, where you can start training people before it happens and educating people before it happens and during the time.
Right.
And then after the time. And they didn't get that during or before, during, and not enough afterwards.
right, yeah,
The way you handle that is you keep paying them. A lot of this stuff can be handled with money. I know a lot of times it can't be. Some things can't be done with money, but a lot of things in aggregate can be handled with money. I say the police brutality thing and all the social injustice that's going out there and police doing the wrong things. That can be handled with a paycheck. Because if you pay police officers $100,000 a year, every one of them, you're going to get really, really good police officers. You're going to get people that don't want to go back overseas.
True.
You're going to get very well trained police officers. They're going to think twice about making a bad decision when they do it. And typically, they've been in those situations before because of military or some other reason or some other high stress job where that's not as high stress to them. And then they can take that situation and process it faster and make faster decisions. Now, are there things that's going to happen still? Of course, but it's not going to be as much, and those guys are going to be better trained people. The same thing with veterans. You keep paying them to come back to those things for their well-being, and then if they don't come, you can't help it. But they do have to be bought in.
Absolutely. And I think you also nailed it, that education is definitely probably, if not the most important thing, but a very important thing to do. Because within my family, I can only speak to my family because I've only lived in a Korean Asian household. To teach them of the fact about discrimination and racism and the past and comparison, all those things, I've seen a drastic change on how my family sees things, because I would be open to talking to whoever you are because I've already addressed that early on. But just to see if families could do that, could take the time to educate each other from the outside to say, you know what, we're not so different after all. Yes, I think the crime there might be some aspects of crime.
There's always going to be bad dudes out there.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
always going to be bad people out there. But the more people have in education, typically translate to the more they have monetarily, and then the more they have, they don't want to lose it. So they think about what they're going to do before they do it. And yeah, so there's always going to be bad people out there, but you know, if crime grows to the rate of population instead of growing to where it is now, it's better to grow where it is now instead of, okay, if there's that much more and then it escalates up, it's wild, wild west.
I agree.
It's wild, wild west, and it begins with education. It begins with teaching people.
Yeah.
In every different facet.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
so your product now, if I'm a person that walks up to you at a networking group, i.e. Kelly, and says, "Hey, what do you do, and you know, what can I buy from you? What would I be buying from you?"
So it would actually be a service.
Okay.
And it would be after we would vet you and, you know, make sure if it makes sense, but it would actually be an invitation to a community where we curate a strategy. So it's a lot of our clients in our community. There's a community I started building about a few years ago, where we would take those in who are looking for a better way of life, who but have had some hiccups or some clogged sinks or clogged toilets, however you want to label it, that we can just go ahead first. Let's address those things first, and then we could, as a byproduct, provide that service of entrepreneurship, just get them on the road to starting their own business. Because we come to find that a lot of times whenever you start learning about yourself and you become the best version of yourself, or however you want to label it, you tend to lean towards an entrepreneur route, just because a lot of the things that you do may not be in the same alignment as the system that's in place of where they work at. Not to say the place is a bad place to work at, but maybe they need to venture off into something else. I don't encourage everybody who's listening to quit your job now and then jump ship into something, because I would not endorse that at all, and I'm not endorsing it either. It's endorsed by no one said it said no one ever. I didn't endorse that.
But a lot of times, if I'm going on that right there, is a lot of times if you change your own attitude, that place is a different place.
Yeah.
We were saying this. There's a John Maxwell thing. I think it was in one of his books. I've read so many books, that the business books and those types of books, that I can't. They're all mixed to me. But he was talking about a girl came up to him after a conference and was like, "Man, I really don't like my job. I don't like the people that work there. You know, I've been there for 20 years. They pay me good, or however long they've been there. They pay me well, and yeah, my boss is all right, but." You know, and he goes, "Well, here's what I want you to do." And he gave her basically this list of things to do every day to change her mindset about, you know, what she did. And he said they went through these practices, do this every day, and I think that your job will get better. And then next year he saw her and he's like, "Hey, how are you doing? How's the job?" She's like, "You'd never believe how much people have changed at that place."
And didn't even realize it was her mindset that had been changing.
Right.
So, and I can say that, yes, some people don't need to do what they're doing, but a lot of times, in most cases, their mindset is not right to be working anywhere, much less there.
That's true. I agree.
So, and look, I think you learn that stuff in your early 20s of what I want to do and what I don't want to do.
Well, and I don't think you should put pressure on yourself if you don't. I mean, again,
Right.
some might take a little bit longer and
will.
reach in their 30s. I mean, because maybe their 20s was a lot of playtime. They don't have
course.
time to think about it. It's like, all right, cool. My crazy, whatever, Wild West of my 20s, now I actually have to grow up in my 30s. Like, well, chill for a second. You could
still do that.
you can still do that. Just figure it out, you know? So,
That's it. Well, look, how can we get a hold of you? Like, what clients are you looking for? What's best fits your program? What kind of networking events can we see you at? And then I want to sell you a ticket to our next networking event.
And Absolutely. And talk about the Korean Barbecue Fest.
Oh, look at that. Okay, so
You know I was going to bring that up. I
Of
love
course.
Korean barbecue.
Of
That is my
course.
favorite food. Love it.
Of course. So you can find me on Instagram, JK the Brand. You can also find me on Clubhouse, JK the Brand. It's an audio-only app. I'll be hosting a couple rooms about cold showers, mental health, masculinity, things of that sort. Do have a YouTube channel up, and we'll have a website. I believe it's going to be jkthebrand.com, but I'll keep you guys up to date. It's just going to be a simple little hello page. Regards to clients, it would be... Oh, goodness. No demographic in particular, but somebody who's at least a decent adult who's, I would say, old enough to make their own decisions, but would be kind of considered lost as a person who's, probably frustrated at their job, may have tried everything to make the experience at the job easier, but who might be looking for a different way, another way out for life. And yeah, there's a big festival coming up. It's October 9th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's a little bit down the road, but it's called the Korean Barbecue Festival. We're expecting about 15 to about 30,000 people. It's going to be outdoors at the Gwinnett Place Mall area.
Awesome.
So we'll get you details on that as well. It's just a nice early plug for this, but we're looking to have about 12 to about 15 local Korean restaurants or those that cook Korean thematic type of foods. And we'll have probably about 20 or 30 of the non-restaurant vendors to appear in a nice little bounce house, which I'm raising my hand. I'm jumping in that bounce house before anybody else. And we're going to have a couple of groups that are coming down who are big influencers in themselves. I can't confirm the names just yet, but they're supposed to be big names in South Korea and over in China. So they'll be coming in, flying in fresh from Asia to do some performances. And we'll have a DJ there as well. So
Sweet. Thanks for guys for showing up. I really appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you this year more about what you do. I look forward to the Korean barbecue for sure. Listen to some live music, right?
absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Everybody, be kind to each other out there.
All right. Take care, guys. Peace out.
That's a wrap. What do you think?
That was cool. I like it. It was like really rapid.